Hello everybody, my name is Hawk Nightwing, the most unapologetic Defender G5 you'll ever meet, and today, I want to do something a bit different. Spring break is here for me now, and I want to use this time to examine my thoughts on Tired Tail, and how it's evolved since it first came onto the scene. This is sort of my checkpoint video on the state of this generation. In the aftermath of the absolute masterpiece, especially those blocky walkies, I think it's safe to say that I'm actively invested in the future of this series, the same way I was for Make Your Mark. It's been a long journey to get here, but it's a journey that I'm proud I went on. I want to take you all through my experiences watching this series, and show that we were all wrong about Tired Tail. My feelings on Tired Tail have always been complicated. Back during early season 1, I always thought it was good, definitely underrated with some great episodes here and there, but it was never something that hooked me the way Make Your Mark did. It was missing that spark that made its Netflix counterpart so much more enjoyable to analyze and explore. That was the point in its life where basically anything could happen. The writers were throwing stuff at the wall and see what stuck. It was always looked at as supplementary content, with no serialized narrative of its own. Heck, we didn't get introduced to Opaline and Misty in this show until episode 29. Yikes, my dude. Don't get me wrong, the episodes that worked, really worked. Like Alicorn Issues really is that good. Star Scout Code was my favorite episode for the longest time, mainly for the emotional Argyle ending. The season got a whole lot better in the Twilight stages. Hence why I still plan to defend season 1 in my defense video series. But the early days of the show were still wildly uneven, and I think I even dropped off midway through, due to not feeling that same investment. I didn't stop watching cold turkey like you're probably thinking, but I wasn't watching it religiously. Maybe I picked up an episode a couple days later or something instead of immediately after it came out like I do now. There really wasn't a reason to see every single episode because, well, the show was episodic. It didn't matter. I obviously don't think that way now. I mean, I later found out the hard way that Take Flight and the Mare Stream was actually required viewing in order to understand an aspect of Winter Wish Day. And all Sunny Focus episodes you have to watch in order to understand our entire arc, but at the same time, I definitely did think that way at the time. I don't know, watching this show next to Make Your Mark, it just wasn't the same. For every genuine great episode that came every now and then, there were a whole bunch of either mediocre, forgettable, or outright bad episodes. The latter category was a lot less prevalent, definitely, but it was there at times. I don't think I even saw Sparky sick, and if I'm being honest, I don't ever plan to. Just this one clip everyone keeps parading around is all I need to know about that episode. I mainly just paid attention to Make Your Mark and defended that show. Whenever I talked about Tired Tail, it was more so in a casual manner, and I mainly talked about all the good stuff I did see. Then, out of nowhere, a miracle happened. As Misty clears marked a sort of turning point for the series, where it began to take itself more seriously, and lean more into the writing that made Make Your Mark so successful. I remember raving about this episode on FimFiction, how good it was, so on and so forth. By then, I was sort of getting back to the groove of watching the show again out of curiosity. I saw the Eggman Bunny episode before that because, why not, Easter? Couldn't help to see what they had cooked up. Heck, after As Misty Clears aired, I even went back and watched some of the older episodes afterwards, to see what I missed out on, and you know what? A lot of them were in fact good. Not great, but for what they were, I actually enjoyed them. In particular, I want to shout out Mission Imponable and Lost in the Woods for just being really good Sunny episodes. The former is a fantastic episode that further expands on her arc of gaining self-confidence as the Alicorn, and the montage is just something else, man. Lost in the Woods actually shows her in a sort of leadership role, acting as a guiding force in helping the ponies work together to save the Pipsqueaks. There were other episodes I ended up liking too, don't get me wrong. Secret Mirror actually has a really good message about giving friendship and love time to grow, as represented by the Venus flytrap metaphor, which is actually very clever. A Day in a Life is a very sweet episode about not pushing yourself too far, and being honest with your friends. So these were actually very good episodes that I cannot believe I initially snoozed on. It felt like there was an actual purpose behind their existences beyond just being another episode, and there was some genuinely good stuff here. Not phenomenal stuff, but you know, credit where credit is due. They were really good and enjoyable, especially the first two. But I wasn't completely sold yet. I wanted to be, but I just wasn't. That's when Sparkle School came around, and it managed to be the best episode of season 1 for me. Not only was it powerful, not only was it emotionally moving with a really great message, but it took itself seriously, focused on themes of self-esteem and feeling like you're unable to fit in. That talk between Sunny and Misty was just so raw and realistic. And this one shot, holy cow. I once again took to FimFiction to rave about it, and in my blog, I expressed how shocked I was that an episode this thematically poignant and emotionally powerful was released. I never expected something so perfect from this show, and Sparkle School cemented to me that Tired Tail was changing for the better, that there was a reason to watch it. That one episode managed to capture what made its longer form show so enjoyable from a thematic and character perspective. That's when I began to enjoy Tired Tail a whole lot more, and I started watching it regularly again, even making reviews of it on my channel. Yeah, I was still all over the place on the quality scale, but I actually found myself enjoying the episodes more and more, as I managed to capture that spark, that feeling, those relatable morals. Sense of Adventure taught a great lesson about only taking what you need and protecting the environment. Nightmare Market, for its insane and goofy repeat premise, was a full-on character study for Alphabeetle, ended with them making a decision that was just so heartbreaking. to let his baby Philly go and embrace the pony she is now. Yeah, the ending was a repeat of Father of the Bridalwood, but I don't really mind repeat premises all that much as long as they're good. My philosophy? You could have either this tier of resolution, or you can have the nonsensical ending of non-compete clause. Like, it's not even a contest. Mr. Moves In was again very heartfelt. It was about the struggle to adapt to a new place, fitting in, and respecting the privacy of others. Like, where was this quality from Tire Tale originally? Sure, it had it in short spurts in its early stages, but never this consistently. And how did these episodes become so thematically rich? Needless to say, I loved Tire Tale by this point, and all it needed to do to hook me was take its stories more seriously instead of just doing anything. And once it did that, it worked! Even as some people were still attempting to hate it, I saw the potential there, and I began defending it too. I mean, who would have thought? Even the spoiler episodes, for as much as they bummed me out and even made me mad, were still good in their own right, and had something to offer. Labyrinth was a really good Season 2 episode. That somehow got clumped into the rest of Season 1 because Hasbro just had to release 2 episodes focused on Nightmare Night, even didn't make sense for the story. The Rise and Fall was a decent, if inferior retelling of the roots of all evil. Crystal Ball surprisingly tackled Sunny's PTSD over Allura, and how that affected her throughout its runtime, even managing to squeeze in a little tease for what's to come with Allura's first sinister introduction. Again, should have been a Season 2 episode. And Snow Business Like Show Business was a good season finale. Not great, but it served its purpose as a comedic recap for Secrets of Starlight, with a surprising ending that introduced Comet's new arc of learning more about Equestria. It was an engaging hook that never got followed up on. Rest in peace, my boy. You will be missed. So of course, Season 1 proved itself by the end, and by then, I was firmly for this series and against all the hate it was getting. I was a certified Tire Tale believer, if you will. But there was just one problem that prevented me from completely enjoying it. One speck of doubt on the back of my mind that made me apprehensive for the future of G5. And that was the lack of narrative agency. If you remember from the first Make Your Mark defense video, I briefly touched upon one of the early complaints that this show got. That it relied on Tire Tale too much to tell its story. And no. But that criticism does actually hold some merit if we completely flip it upside down. In reality, Make Your Mark was completely independent from Tire Tale. You could watch it for greater context for Sunny's arc, as well as understanding Misty Zake's opening a bit more, but that was it. It was his own self-contained entity that was fully confident in its own vision and story from beginning to end. Tire Tale, on the other hoof, was practically used as a Make Your Mark marketing machine, much to its own detriment. Guess what? Misty has a new main style. Let's put it in before it debuts. Are you confused and want to know how she got it? Watch Make Your Mark Chapter 5. Hey, dragons are cool. Let's put them in before they officially debut, in a spoiler episode no less. Be sure to watch Chapter 6 in order to know how the ponies are even friends with them at all. Remember missing the mark? Here's a recap episode imploring you to watch it. Who's this new blue stallion? Oh, his name is Comet, and you need to watch Secrets of Starlight in order to understand why he's in Maritime Bay, as well as who many of these characters even are. You see what I mean here? There are a lot more examples, but if I listed them here, we'd be here all day. Tire Tale was always treated as this supplementary content, relying on Make Your Mark to do all heavy lifting for it story-wise. And it worked out that for a good while, but as a result, when it was revealed that this was the future of G5 and not Make Your Mark, a lot of us were understandably like, what? But why? Even I was like that, because I never thought Tire Tale would be anything more than just, additional content. In my mind, Make Your Mark was always the plot-focused show, and Tire Tale could do whatever slice-of-life thing it wanted. That was the beauty of having 2 shows. In hindsight, we should have known that Make Your Mark had an endpoint from the start. It was always advertised as 22 episodes and 4 specials. Nothing more, nothing less, and it was not prematurely cancelled. I feel like I keep having to say that. But you get the idea. For as fantastic as the latter half of Season 1 was, it was never allowed to tell its own story. It always had to coast off the back of Make Your Mark's greatness, acting as a supplement to it, never forgetting to be its own thing. I had some hope for the future, don't get me wrong. I mean, after Chapter 6 came out and was, dare I say it, everything I wanted, I afforded myself a little reassurance at the conclusion of that video. It always helps be positive, as I always say. But to be the true successor of Make Your Mark, Tire Tale needed to become more. It needed to completely overhaul its current creative trajectory, take its stories more seriously, and commit to an overarching story. It wasn't enough that the quality of writing had shot up dramatically to the point where 10 of its episodes were phenomenal. You can have all these great stories, amazing morals, and complex characters inherited from your sister show all you want. But if you don't have a narrative to hook me, then all of that goes out the window. Season 4 isn't my favorite season if I am, simply due to how good a lot of the episodes were. No, it was also because they connected into one overarching story that had an insane payoff at the end. Make Your Mark took that lesson to heart and executed a million times better. In order to keep that investment and carry the future of this franchise on its shoulders, Taiyo Tale needed to do the same. It needed to trim back the fat, cut back on the random anything could happen mantra, and instead become a proper show. But as long as it had its longer counterpart holding it back, I didn't think that was possible. And that's why I feel like the natural ending of Make Your Mark was exactly what Taiyo Tale needed to unleash its full creative potential. And then, just like Izzy letting her magic run wild at the board trot, it did. Taiyo Tale Season 2 is everything I wanted from this show. A centralized narrative, full-on character arcs, compelling stories, redemption for other characters that got flanderized, lore, world building, emotional catharsis moments, so on and so forth. It really feels like the now that Make Your Mark is over, Taiyo Tale now has the freedom to be its own thing, tell its own story, and really capture that spark that made its predecessor so amazing. It feels like a full-on sequel to that show instead of a supplement, with the narrative threads that it does pick up feeling natural and organic. Misty now has a new arc, Sunny is again placed at the forefront of the narrative, her story is now tied to the lore of Skyros. After last week's special came in and blew me away by completely redeeming this version of Izzy on every single level, I am proud to say that I adore Taiyo Tale now. It took me to the point where I don't even miss Make Your Mark now. I've accepted the fact that it's over, and I'm fully ready to embrace this show and everything that come with it. Yeah, it has its awkward moments. I mean, I am never going to get behind the creators being the center of any conflict. Comment has been completely erased from existence, which I am not happy about at all, and episode 2 genuinely scared me quality-wise. But aside from that, it feels like Taiyo Tale has finally found its footing. It takes itself far more seriously and feels like an actual story-driven show. I've always been invested in more serialized shows than episodic ones, as they give me a reason to care. And I finally have a reason to genuinely care about the future of Taiyo Tale. I have a reason to be invested in this story in terms of longevity. I hope this is the new Friendship is Magic, where it's given 9 seasons or even more to really take us places. I hope it continues to be successful on YouTube, turning out banger after banger and we don't relapse. Like, please, keep up this momentum. If episodes like Swirlpool Starlight, The Lone Alicorn, and The Blocky Walkies are what we can expect going forward quality-wise, then I really want to see more of this. Less of this. Less Fruit Crown Mayhem stuff, please, Hasbro. More Pink Pony content, that's what we love to see. And in the aftermath of all this, I just found myself reflecting on my journey to get here. How I started off as someone who took Taiyo Tale for granted. Didn't pay much mind due to its nature as just a silly web series. And I'm so glad I realized that I was wrong. But the thing is, others haven't. They still call it the same show, some refuse to even acknowledge the improvement, and some refuse to even talk about it at all. In mainstream analysis circles, there is an astonishing lack of analysis on Taiyo Tale, and that's just weird. So many people just dismiss it outright or say it's not necessary to watch. And I find it so frustrating because I was there at one point. I used to not care, but I stuck it out, and I got to see how the show truly let its magic run wild. But the analysts who are supposed to be the ultimate authority on G5's quality don't even bother with it. And I just find that off-putting. Like, people are just okay with only talking about half the story and trying to say that the whole book is bad because of that, all refusing to acknowledge the other half. Like it or not, Taiyo Tale is the sole carrier of G5's narrative, and for me, the main reason why we succeed as the real analyst community and the hate them doesn't, is because we acknowledge all facets of G5's story. The good and the opposite of good. I'm not asking y'all to adore Taiyo Tale, just please acknowledge it exists, because you're stuck with it, and you got nothing else to analyze aside from the comics. Taiyo Tale may not have started on the best note, but it's become something entirely different now, something worth celebrating, an argument that is supported in both season pilots, which each reflect the tone and style they were made for. Compare these 2 first episodes and tell me they're from the same show. One sends the message, oh look, happy Zip and Pip adventure, yay! The other one sends the message like, fasten your seatbelts kids cause we got a real story going on here. And that's further supported by the episodes that come afterwards, where we start introducing lore with the Skyros tapestry, giving the audience the ultimate tour de force of G5's world building thus far with the Blocky Walkies. The one thing I think makes it the best G5 special in my opinion, is that it doesn't feel like one of those grandiose specials we've been conditioned to expect with Make Your Mark. The music isn't the selling point, it's not made to capitalize on a specific holiday, and it's not trying to be big or grand. It shockingly prioritizes a grounded and personal story, with an underrated message about what it means to be creative, where Izzy's the sole focus of the narrative. People need to stop sleeping on this show, and start taking it more seriously. If you're someone who fell off of watching this series as you weren't feeling that investment, I implore you to give it another chance. I am begging you. This season deserves their time and attention. This show deserves their time and attention. More people need to start hopping on the Taiyo Tale train now, as it now knows what it wants to be, and it is owning it. I misjudged it, and I happily admit that. I'm glad that I was wrong about it. It's great that I was wrong about it. I've never been more happy to be wrong about something in my life. If you got anything out of this video so far, it's that my journey through watching Taiyo Tale has been the ultimate lesson in not underestimating a series that doesn't initially click with you. You should still choose to hold out hope for it, even if it doesn't impress you right away, as at some point down the line, It just might. Tired Tail has become a beautiful and engaging show that can't stop churning out home run after home run. It's the real success of FIM, and it deserves to be that. Not gonna lie, seeing people unite to defend the Blocky Walkies in the comment section of a negative review of the special has been incredibly heartwarming to see. I knew I wasn't the only one who felt that way. I'm not gonna name whose video that was, as we don't need to. If you know who it is, you know. And I'm not looking to start any drama here, but I never thought I'd see fans unite behind a Tired Tail episode of all things, but that's where we are, and I couldn't be more proud of how our influence is growing. How people are finally standing up for this generation after years and years of mindless hatred. We G5 fans are the real success of the Brony community, and however small we may be right now, we are incredibly passionate about this generation and LP, and our presence is only growing stronger with time. G5 has had a fandom presence, and that's us. I am proud to say that we were wrong about Tired Tail. I was wrong. It's proven us wrong, and our faith in it has been rewarded. I went from a casual fan of it to a full-on believer, and I watched it improve to the point where it even has the potential to replicate Make Your Mark success. It doesn't deserve the backlash it gets. It is not overstimulating kitty garbage like most people are saying. Like, have you guys even seen Pony Life? That was literally insufferable, and I quit watching Cold Turkey after the Evil Cat episode because I just couldn't take it. Potion Nova was best pony, though. She was the only saving grace of the 4 episodes I actually saw. The hyperactive main 6 can just go home, I don't care. But Tired Tail isn't that. It is so much more than that, and it dares be so much better than that. It really feels like I'm taking a victory lap after this special, and if we're being honest, so are you. And that's why, in spite of its flaws that may rear their ugly heads every now and then, I will always stand by and defend Tired Tail. And it's time for us as a community to unite behind it once and for all. So those are my thoughts on where G5 is at, and I couldn't be more excited for the future. You guys probably agree already, but if I did change your mind and get you to see Tired Tail in a different light, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I just made this video as a response to the notion that the show has somehow gotten worse, and there's nothing in here for older audiences to enjoy. As you can see, that's not the case at all. It may have started off that way, but now? Nah, you gotta be kidding me. And that right there is the beauty of change. I may have started off hesitant, even apprehensive about this series taking the lead, but now, I embrace it. The art style has grown on me, Season 2 has so far redeemed a ton of elements from the first season, and now, there's nowhere to go but up. Again, I'll be defending the first and current second season more in depth when parts 5 and 6 of my defense video series rolls around, so if you want to see me talk about the episodes more in depth, stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel to be updated on future content. We analysts appear to be a dying breed in the community, as mindless hate videos are all the rage, so your contributions make a huge difference in helping me grow. Until next time, this is Hawk Nightwing signing out. Hoof to heart.